Yeah, so I mean, one of the big things we do is even before folks come into the office and sit down with us, is we have an information gathering phone call.
Hmm.
So, and sometimes that's done face to face as well, but we really want to get to know you. We want to get to know what your goals are, what your income goals are, what you like to do, what you're looking forward to do in retirement. That way, we can get all that background information to really get to know you, and then we can build a plan around that. So it's specific to you, and it's not just a generic plan where we're looking at X and Z numbers, but are very specific in what we're putting together for you and the life you want to live. So part of that conversation is looking at, okay, what income do I have coming in retirement? And then what are the income goals I have? So what do I need to spend money on? What expenses do I have? And we really break that down because that's part of that income planning that we're going to do, where we're
Hmm.
trying to look at, okay, what's the least amount of money we need to set aside to guarantee the exact income we need so that rest of that money can be spent on those other things, those goals, those trips, those vacations, those, buying gifts for the grandkids. So we want to see what's the least amount we need to put aside to guarantee the income, so the rest of it we can be a little more risky, and we can grow that money for you, be tax efficient with it, and then that can be used for that ancillary spending.
Mike, is there any ever a time where the goal is too much? I mean, they're thinking too big, or is that usually not the case? When they retire, they kind of want to step back a little bit.
Well, from my perspective, I'm not sure that I would ever tell somebody you save too much money. I mean, obviously, if you did not enjoy your life up to the point of retirement, maybe you didn't save correctly or maybe you saved too much. But from my perspective, most people have saved probably the right amount of money. They have an idea of what they think they need.
Hmm.
But more importantly, the problem that I see is that they worked with the wrong advice givers and they saved money in the wrong buckets. And what I mean by that is that, people have been suggested and told and encouraged to put money into their 401ks and IRAs. And the problem is, and we talk about this all the time, that if you sat down with somebody 30 or 40 years ago when you were first starting out in your career, and somebody said to you, hey, listen, you have two options on how you're going to do this. The first option is you can put money in a bucket where you get a tax break today. So every time you put $1,000 away, you save $100 in taxes or $200 in taxes. So that's one approach. Or the second approach is that you save money today, same $1,000, and you don't get a tax break. But the big difference is if they also told you that, 30 years later, when you've saved $1 million or you've saved 500,000 or whatever the number is, you've saved $1 million. And if they sat down with you and said, great, you've saved $1 million. Now what we want you to do is we want you to cut a check to Uncle Sam and to the state of Maryland or whatever state you happen to live in. And we want you to give them $300,000 or $400,000 of that $1 million you saved. I mean, who signs up for that? Who says, ooh, pick me? That's exactly what I want my life to look like. Because if that same advice giver, if that same person has said, look, you have two choices. You can have $1 million at retirement and get to spend all $1 million without paying tax on it, or you can have $1 million at tax time and give $300,000 or $400,000 to Uncle Sam, and you could spend 500, 600, or 700,000 of it. I mean, sometimes my kids joke around with me, Dad, you're not the smartest tool in the shed. But I'm smart enough to know that I'd rather have $1 million than have 700,000 or $600,000. And I'm smart enough to know that, and I don't care if you lean left politically or lean right politically. I don't care what side of the aisle on. You have to acknowledge that the federal government are not good stewards with your money. They spend money on dumb stuff all the time. We can agree to disagree on what is actually dumb, but no matter which way you cut it, the amount of money that they take from us is ridiculous. And fortunately for us, our tax system is such that it's an opt-in or opt-out. Now, I'm not talking about, tax evasion and all that. We're not talking about the Hunter Biden approach. But what I am talking about is the fact that you get to choose how to structure your investments and how to structure your income streams, that you're paying the least amount of taxes legally possible. And for us, you know what? Zero is a legal possibility.